Hello, I'm Eric Patterson, and these are Taproot Tales. So sometimes along my mental health journey, I've despaired. I've had those dark nights when I've asked, why was I born this way? Why do I have this disposition? Why have I experienced what I have? And at those times, with my self-focused mind, I thought few people could have suffered like I have, he said tongue-in-cheek. And that I had played a completely innocent role in whatever had befallen me. And that's a different story. But it's no joke that there were times where I had experienced anguish over what life had presented me. It may be the same for you. And I'd be left with black and white notions of how to interpret events, seeing them as either purely positive or purely negative in their outcomes. But is it so? Really? Isn't there more than one way of looking at things? Isn't life more gray than black and white? I'd like to share a traditional Sufi tale that asks the questions, what is a blessing and what is misfortune? Long ago, in a poor Chinese village, there lived a farmer and his son. And aside from their land and a small hut, all they owned was a horse. One day the horse ran away. The farmer's neighbors came over to console him. But the farmer replied, "Yes, but what makes you sure this was a sorrow?" A week later, the horse returned, bringing with him a beautiful mare. The farmer's neighbors rushed over to offer their congratulations. But the farmer replied, "Ah, but how do you know this was a blessing?" A month passed, and the farmer's son decided to break in the mare. But the horse bucked wildly, throwing the son to the ground and breaking his leg. The farmer's neighbors came over to offer their condolences. But the farmer replied, "I appreciate your visit. But what makes you certain this was misfortune?" Several months passed, and Japan declared war on China. The emperor dispatched his men into the countryside to recruit able-bodied young men to send to the front. When they reached the village, they took away all of the young men, all except for the farmer's son, whose leg had not yet mended. None of the young men returned alive. In time, the farmer's son recovered, and the horse and the mare produced many foals. And the farmer shared those foals with his neighbors to thank them for the many times they had come over to wish him well. So when life appears calamitous, take a step back. Gain perspective. Ask yourself whether blessing can be found in what has occurred, or at the very least, whether life is just life, not charged fully positive or negative in meaning. We experience both joy and sorrow as we journey through life. Peace be with you. Be kind to yourself.